Hello and welcome back to Train Sim World, where we're doing another route learning guide. And we're doing a line from Shanklin to Ryde Pier with the 483. To set up anything which includes the Bakerloo, it is that simple. And I will only put that into neutral for now. Headlight, instrument lights, open doors. One other thing to do is stand up all down here and couple the light on if I can, and do that. And one thing I do like is, yes, you can open these windows. And also, you may notice this is not the normal livery, this is my livery. And we're in fact in the one that's technically 007, just ignore the 003, in Jess Harper. Something which I definitely need to get, and that is one of those. This one is preserved on the Isle of Wight Steam Railway, and she lives in the train story, as we haven't got any capabilities of actually getting her to work. We would need too many batteries to make her work. And while we're here, we are stopping at Lake, Sandown, Braden, Smallbrook, Ryde St John's, Ryde Esplanade, and Ryde Pier Head. We're not all stopper the whole way. Let's open up the windows. Now we are out the station, we can hit 45 miles an hour, which will be our maximum line speed for the run today. So going from left to right, we've got the brake, which has positions on it, but it also has a Westinghouse air brake as well fitted. Then the one that's right bang in the middle, more or less in the middle, which is the reverser, which has got forward and reverse on it, but it does also have forward 1 and forward 2. All it is different speed cable. Is not the speed, it's how the unit accelerates. And we've got a proper air whistle. And then for the other control, which is the dead man's handle, which is the only thing we have got for safety reasons on this, technically. Because the theory is, if the driver passes out, his hand will not be able to keep hold of the power handle. And now we are approaching the lake station. Where we are looking to hit the S-car marker at the end of the platform, which doesn't actually exist on this version. I'm just turning the camera so I can keep an eye on where we're stopping. And if you are curious, yes, they did drive like that, but also the normal window. Yep, that is the handbrake for the unit. You can get into there on the London Underground version of these, of the 1938 stock DLC, and change the destinations. And also you've got up here, you've got cold starts, you've got trip powers, door locks and stuff as well up here, and coupled and uncoupled. Down here we've got the whistle and the wipers are right bang there. Then that gauge there is the brake gauge. These are literally, you've got all the line power stuff on it. And they will change around depending on what you're doing. We have got ages to wait. And this route should not have these every station. Moving on. So the 1938 tube stock, as what they are, came over to the island back in the 90s. And were originally painted in a network southeast, which is what they are represented in on TSW, because they couldn't get Rivet Games could not get the Southwestern licensing. Despite the route is actually set just before the shutdown for the upgrade to the class 483 were at this point in time in their last life. Yes, there should be a gas buzzer on this, but we haven't got it. Departing Lake, we are maximum known speed of 45 miles an hour, which will be going down to 15 into Sandown, which is one of the old passing points on the line. The other one being Ryde St John's Road. Since the upgrade, the passing point has been Braden. Past the coasting ball, which is actually accurately placed for these units. They are accurately placed for the 485 units, which came prior to these. And they were also known as the standard tube stock on the London Underground. I do admit, I think these brakes are a little bit powerful to what they should be. And if this was accurately taken from the timetable, we would get in before the unit from the side would get in. At Sandown, we are looking for the 2-car stop marker. Or should I say, the S-car marker. Because this is the time before they actually had that set up. So, and also these are still bugged. And if you're curious, 483-001 was one of the first units that actually died in service. And at the same time, she was actually the first to pretty much get scrapped, alongside 483-010, which was only a spare part donor. But in this, they are modelled as in service. Little bit on forward 1 and forward 2. Best off to say is use forward 1 if you're driving in the snow or rain, because it will give you a much slower deceleration. As we depart from Sandown, the line curved on the left I mean, used to be the line that was the route line from Sandown to Newport Railway, which went through Merston Station, which was also meant to be a junction for the Ventnor West branch. And those lines actually shut back in the 1950s on the island. The line that we're on used to travel the whole way from Ryde, Pier, Ryde to Ventnor, and it is only lucky that this section of track actually has survived, with there being an act in Parliament saying that the line couldn't be shut down between Ryde and Shanklin, not the Ventnor, surprisingly, on the reason of traffic. The line speed has now gone back up to 45 miles an hour. And to this day, they now admit that perhaps the line to Ventnor should have also stayed open. Especially if you go off of the fact that about a couple of years ago now, the had a bit of a bad landslide on the main road from Ryde and pretty much cut Ventnor down to just a one-way into Ventnor, as there'd already been one road shut, which is Undercliff, because of landslide. The road has now reopened. The road bridge that we've been over, but well, I should have said it when we were going over it, has now actually had its other side taken out, because this was once double track, and it was double tracked up until about a couple of years before these units actually came over. This section was between Braden and Sandown. We passed the Warmouth board for the upcoming 20 mile an hour at Braden, where they took them out because they went, we don't need it anymore. And it took them until the upgrade to double track Braden Station. And the 20, just to point out, is after the platform, where we will be looking to stop at just as we hit the overbridge, which was shut during this time frame and were limited to how many people could go on it at one hit. Once again, a PSI board that shouldn't be here. The signal box that is there is owned by the Braden Station Trust and has actually recently been able to reopen again on select days of the year. Of the week, I mean. Departing Braden, we have got a 20 mile an hour limit coming up, so there's not much point of going to 45, which is what we are technically allowed to until then. Remember to always do the whistle as departing, because of this. No, we're going to have to struggle for a little while until we can hit the line speed of 40 miles an hour, with the next station now being Smallbrook Junction. And just to point out, this was a pain for the drivers as well. It still is now, when it's now 15. Now we can go up to 40 miles an hour. We will be being able to hit 45 very much beforehand. Not too far away. We are now on the line that has always been single track. From now until between Braden and Smallbrook Junction, which was just a junction back in Steam days, there was no station, was always perhaps a little bit of a bottleneck of a section of track, especially during the summer holidays. And the 45 is now coming up. And now we can hit 45. Smallbrook Junction will be appearing very soon, and we will start braking for Smallbrook Junction as we pass the 30 miles an hour reduction will be forward. If we weren't stopping at Smallbrook, we would start slowing down as you see Smallbrook. And back during this time frame, there was no wars at Smallbrook. Smallbrook Junction never looked like that, just to point out, with trees central. This is all changed now anyway, but up over here we've got the steam railway, where the signal box is actually missing, which is just up there. There's a dummy signal around here for when we run around. Likewise, there's one up there for when we return. There is also a token horn that's around there as well. That there is the ticking office, or the booking office, depending on what you want to call, for tickets. That bus shelter has actually now been moved, and this has now got a building around it, with actually the signal box, which you should be able to see the ground frame of, to be fairness of it, the concrete basin anyway, through the trees, is now actually built, but it's still not open to the public. Departing Smallbrook Junction, the 30 mile an hour limit is on its horizon, and it's only for the crossover. as we recumulate into a double track section, where the line from the Nynton from Newport and Kells would join us on here as well, over a diamond crossover. And with the game going bong, that is the easiest option to know when you can hit 45 once again. The 20 is not until after Ryde St John's Road. That is a fixed distant signal which is modelled accurately, and the signal is not until after Ryde St John's Road, which we would have to really worry about in the game sense. But if it was real life, it will actually be a green signal. Which it is anyway. The signal box that we're now approaching on the left once was at London Waterloo East. Over the under the bridge that has been put in since they were modernised. And we're looking to stop on the S-car marker at the end of the platform. Where the bridge used to go is right bang here, Journstein. And platform 3 was once used as a platform on a fairly decent basis during the summer, I believe. But now it isn't. 483-004 was actually parked up down here and sadly got graffitied upon just before the upgrade happened. It was also during the lockdown time period that she got very badly graffitied upon on the first lockdown time period. So there was a group of people that were obviously trespassing on the railways. The 483s actually suffered quite badly during this time frame, especially the ones which were already dead and sat in a yard. So 002 was also sat in the yard at the time, and she got very badly graffitied upon. 002 has been scrapped. .483-004 has also been preserved on the island, and she now lives at a tomato farm and has been restored into Transport for London Red fully without a yellow front, and she's been restored to I believe have a seating on a cafe sort of area. On the left we are now passing the bus depot and the bus museum. This area of track from here onwards until as we go through Ryde Esplanade Tunnel is known for flooding. By the river that is on the opposite side to us. And that also has got back at the Ryde Depot, Ryde at St John's Depot. It's also floods as well, but in there you there has been, I should say, rare items from Steam has been found in there. I wouldn't even be surprised there's stuff from the 484 and 485 in there as well. This is Ryde Esplanade Tunnel. Just before where the tunnel is, there was going to be another station, which never happened because the people around Ryde during that time frame when they were planning on building the line, didn't actually like it, so Ryde St John's became the end of the line for a while until the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway, and I do believe the London and South Western Railway, actually came together and pretty much got the line extended up onto the pier, instead of using a tram sort of system to get up from the pier to Ryde St John's. This is the steepest hill on the line we're going up now. Don't ask why there's a car parked in the bus station, which has now been altered since this time frame. At Ryde Esplanade, you look for the 2-car marker, which doesn't actually exist, even though it should, which is just as the canopy ends technically. Now we are on Ryde Pier, where platform 1 is the only platform in daily use, and platform 2, which is a garden now, it's a community garden space, used to extend the same length as platform 1. It doesn't no more. And the underpass, which is actually here in real life, was actually known to flood as well, quite badly on occasions. All of this area here is now used by hover travel, which isn't modelled on this version. The building that is there next door that way, which I'm looking at now, is the Ryde ice rink, which is actually sadly abandoned. With it only being 20 miles an hour, I'm only using forward 1 for the pier. There's not much point of being fast, because you will still be on time. On the left, we've got an abandoned tramway, which is the Ryde Pier tramway, and then onto the other side is the road up the pier, which, just to put some respect into some preference, in real life they are stuck at 10 miles an hour and we can go 20. We should be now passing the point where the diamond crossover and signal box and the signal was on the pier during steam, and actually was still there when the 485s were still in service, when my pier head got used as double track. And now bring it down to 15 for Ryde Pier head, and Ryde Pier head used to have 4 platforms. Now today there is only the 1 in use, but the track is still there for the other, for technically platform 3. So on this you pretty much have to guess where to stop. And we should be stopping in roughly about this right spot. So if I go here, that there was once a platform here, likewise with over here. So obviously if you've been to the island, that's now the waiting area for the cat. Technically it is platform 2 here, then that was platform 3. If you're wondering, they mostly use platform 2 and 3, but platform 1 and 4 were used during the summer months. They would either rappel the trains out with them already uncoupled, then run around, or they would have, or the loco would uncouple and another loco will come up and attach itself and then take the train off to Newport, Cowes, Ventnor or Shanklin, or back to Ryde St John's Road as a not in service type of service. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. I will see you in the next one. So once again, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and hit that subscribe button. And I will see you in the next one. Toodles.